Everyone. Welcome to another episode of Reset Your Mental Health Online. I am Kendria. I'm your host, and today we have a set of awesome young brothers who are just going to share their story because now it's time to move. We had our first conversation a couple of weeks ago, and so now we are going to talk with men who are doing things in the community and in their schools and in their workplaces to make sure that we move forward. I'm excited to hear what they're going to share tonight and then how you can get connected with them. So Reset Your Mental Health Online is a mental health initiative that I started last month just to promote mental health awareness and to share with others that we are all going through it, but it's not a bad thing. So I provide resources. I get the experts, the people who know the know to help you with your mental health. So Reset Your Mental Health Online is also social media. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well. It's to reset your mental health means to realign is R. E means to examine. S is to share. E is to explore, and it all comes with time. Mental health is not a race, it's a journey, so embrace your journey. I have a pleasure of knowing all these men in different capacities, either through ministry, through church, friendships, family. We're all connected through some way, and so I'm proud of the work that they're doing and the great things that they're doing here in Philadelphia and beyond, Delaware too. So really quickly, guys, if you all could just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves. Anyone can go first. Devon, you can go.
I'll jump in. Hey, what's up, everybody? First, thank you, Kendria, for just establishing a space for Black men to talk. I appreciate that and blessed for that, especially to be with these brothers. I'm Devon Jackson. I am a diversity educator. I am an administrator at Salesianum School in Wilmington, Delaware. Been there for 3 years. Just finished my third year, academic year. It's going well. It's a private Catholic school. I also have my own consulting company. It's called Change Consulting. It's social change through education and awareness, diversity consulting, and that's what I do. Love life, live life, and that's that. So that's me. What's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
So yeah, I guess I'll jump in real quick. I'm Jay Brown, everybody. Some of you guys know me, Jimmy, Deacon Jimmy, James Brown.
JB.
What's up, man? Yeah, so I work for American Health Insurance Company. I'm also a DJ as well. I'm working on a podcast, a couple radio things. I mentor youth and young men through my church, Victory Christian Center. I work for a couple non-profits as well. And father also, I do have a teenage little girl as well who's graduating, and she's going to Cabrini in July.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, exactly. Villanova's like right around the corner.
Yeah.
Phil knows about me. Yeah, exactly. I see Phil. Yeah, so that's me, everybody.
Awesome.
Sure. I mean, I can go. Hello, everyone. My name is Phil Yacinth, and I'm the founder of a company called the Fulfill Company. And what we do is we help, we're a youth empowerment company. We help young people fulfill their purpose in life by dealing with the challenges that keep them from moving forward. So this topic, racial inequality, racial injustice, is, spot on in line with, with what's going on, because a lot of times these kids are being fed this information that they can't do something just because they're Black, brown, female, all this nonsense they're fed. So I do a lot of work within schools, and I do a lot of speaking engagements just to empower them and to remind them about who they really are. So, I'm a sports guy. I use a lot of sport principles and a lot of lessons from sports into my workshops and into my speaking. So I'm just excited for the invitation. And obviously I appreciate Kendria and all the great work she's doing. So I appreciate the invite.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil.
My name is Aaron Lamb. I am been in education for over 15 years now. I'm currently an instructional coach. I teach third grade and lead a group of staff members. At the same time, working in Wilmington, Delaware, in Kaumba Academy Charter School. Most of my time has been spent in Philadelphia. I did special ed for about 5 or 6 years. So I've had been on the front line with the whole mental health thing and mental awareness issue. Other than that, I'm also a hip hop gospel artist named Charlie K. Trying to bridge that. Yeah, that's right. Trying to bridge between God and hip hop in a way that is not overly preachy and not trying to do God's job, just putting it out there and let God do the rest. And at
That's what's up.
another piece is I'm also a children's church teacher at my church, New Life Kingdom Center, and been doing that for about 10 years. So
That's what's up, man.
Hey,
Good stuff, man.
Aaron.
All right, so I guess I'm last. My name's Kevin Gold, but I go by Uncle Kev. I am a educator. I've been an educator for the last 13 years. Former teacher. I've taught grades K through 12. Now I'm on the administrative side, partnerships director for Building 21 High School. I am a life coach. I am the CEO and founder of All the Kingsmen Incorporated, which is a mentorship program that focuses on mentorship and community outreach for Black and brown boys ages 10 through 18. Co-founder of King's University, which is also mentorship, but in the space of educating and empowering young Black and brown boys to be their better selves. It's like an 8-week course that we host at Arcadia University. Yeah, I'm a father. I should have said that first.
Yeah. I didn't say it at all. I didn't say it at all. My bad.
I am a father to.
It's okay. It's all right.
A baby girl, Avery Lorraine. She's a year and a half. Well, yeah, a year and a half. Wow.
Yeah, a year and a half. That went by fast.
Yeah. First one. It might be the only one. This has been a challenge, but I love that little girl to death. She's everything. But yeah, that's what I am. That's who I am. I'm a no-nonsense type of guy when it comes to mental health, Black boys in particular. I think we should be talking about this stuff, and more so not just talking, but making actions and strides towards building our Black boys to be better Black men. And what other way to do it than to tackle the mental? So I'm blessed and grateful to be connected to Kendria. Thank you for considering me for this platform, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. I could have introduced you all, but you all know yourselves better. So, so we have questions that we're going to dive into. But my first question, always in true Kendria fashion, how are you? How have you been managing with everything that's been going on? What has your world been like as fathers, uncles, as educators? How have you been? Anybody can jump in.
Yeah, I don't mind jumping in first. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's kind of been an emotional roller coaster for me. When it first happened, obviously, that wasn't the first incident that we knew of, but just to kind of see it, so I would say it started from Ahmaud Arbery, to see, the shooting like he was like an animal. I mean, it made me sad. It made me disappointed. It made me frustrated, aggravated, angry, all the stuff that you guys probably were as well. And then it kind of shifted to me being kind of reflective, where I started thinking about different incidents I dealt with coming up and deal with still being a Black man. And then seeing all the protests and seeing how the protests are growing and seeing how there's a lot of people who don't look like us, who are a lot of these protests, they're outnumbering us. And there's a whole bunch of white folks out there. So it's making me optimistic, but I'm not naive. I want to see if this continues. So it's made my world crazy, because so many different people have been reaching out to me, from, legislators and people who work in youth spaces, parents. There's been an uprise. And so it's a good problem for me to have now, where it's like I'm in demand. It's like now it took this for people to understand that this is serious, and then with the pandemic too, kids were already dealing with the fact that they had to deal with the quarantine and couldn't go anywhere. So they were dealing with mental challenges with that. And now to see on TV someone get killed slowly like that, it's just, it's a bad thing. It's a good thing for business, but it's a bad thing because of that. That's why I'm getting all this attention. And again, I like the business, but I don't like the reason for all the business.
Understand? Yeah.
I'll jump in right there. I'm sorry. I'll jump in right there, because I'm the same way as far as, being a person that has a consulting thing, diversity stuff. Yeah, the business is here, got some feelers out there. People are calling me to say this, but I don't like the fact that I have business. You know what I mean? Like the reason why I have business is disheartening. I'm going through a wave of emotions. I'm a person of perspectives. So my perspective, my emotions come from different perspectives: a black man, a black person, a black father, and on top of that, a diversity educator. The saying is, I shouldn't have to. The onus of me teaching white people shouldn't be on me. I shouldn't be responsible for teaching white people.
Listen.
But the caveat is the fact that I said I was a diversity educator, so I kind of have to, like, I signed up for it. The thing about it is, I do it in waves. Where it's not an obligation for me to do it, but I do it because I want people to know how to act. Right? I want people to know how to ally. To steal a phrase from my colleague Shelley Collier, I want people to know how to ally and not be an ally. It's an action word. I need you to know how to do that. And so, if you're not going to hear from somebody else, sure, I will teach you that. I think the challenge is, how to create that mental space for myself, and kind of release those emotions. So there's a wave of emotions. I'm pissed, angry, disappointed. I was telling somebody about the flag. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes when I'm writing things, I don't capitalize America because I'm not so proud of it. Because when I think about America, I'm thinking about what's happening out there. Yes, I'm proud to be an American. Yes, I'm proud that I can worship where I want and how I want. Yes, I'm proud that I can walk the streets, free, so to speak. But at the same time, I'm not proud that, my son is nervous when he sees cops going down the street. They're not even pulling us over. He's nervous of cops driving past. Wow. Like, I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud that my son, my 5-year-old, understands context and asking questions: why is that policeman doing that to that man right there? Like, I'm not proud that I have to explain that stuff to a 5-year-old. Like, I'm not proud of that. So there's some things that, how am I doing? I'm by the grace of God, I'm surviving. You know what I mean? Because the time is now for us to kind of step up a little bit. But we just got to monitor stuff, right? So I'm doing all right, but it could be better.
Yeah, exactly. In 2020, it's definitely been a year that we have never seen. From a pandemic, from the deaths to the brutality to the protests. I mean, this has been a trying year, probably the most trying year for a lot of us. So I think that George Floyd's case was more like a tipping point. So I think that what we're seeing is, like, it's not just about him. I mean, as far as the rioting, looting, etc., to me, that was a combination of things. It wasn't like, okay, well, George Floyd, another black man who died. But I think it was a combination of things. It was the joblessness. It was just a lot going on at once, and it just pretty much blew up. So America was already divided. I mean, since the presidential election and everything, the left and the right, black, the white, it's always that. But this was just a culmination of things. I really don't know, like, what's next. We definitely need a plan in place. I think time is out for the looting and the rioting. We get it. So now we need to really mobilize, strategize and mobilize and get things going. For me, I sit back and watch. I try to see what everybody is saying and piece everything all together, because there's a lot going on at once. There's so much to talk about. There's so many layers to it. From the, football league to, protest, it's just so much going on at once. Yeah. So America, we have a job to do. And I guess it starts with us, being examples and young black men and fathers and nonprofits, etc. I think it has to start with us. Me, I'm pretty much a positive, person. So I'm just going to pray that, like, the next 6 months is going to be better than what it's already been. So, January through June has been tough. So I do hope and pray that the next 6 is going to be better, because this can't go on. 2020 can't just go up in flames and then we just, this can't be it. So I just pray that we could come together, whether it be police, with, Black Lives or Black Lives Matter, etc. We definitely need to find, like, a middle ground. It might be a dialogue at first. So there's so many different angles. Some people want to, like, totally do away with it. Throw away police. Not really, though, because we still need police. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many different, like, parts to this thing. So I just pray for, wisdom and peace and direction. Yeah. And I'll let somebody else jump in off that pretty much.
Thank you.
I kind of feel this is funny. I feel almost exactly like in pieces of how everybody is feeling. I think all of us as black men, there's a baseline of the same feeling, just being black in America and seeing what's going on. I do applaud some of our young people or how they have turned the power of the phone and the information and using it as a weapon. But I feel like the wave of emotions for me comes because I feel like there's already systems in place for the angry black man. That has always been in place in America. What we need now is the educated angry black man. So that way there where we have emotions, there's leadership and there's a clear path that's driven behind it. Emotions, just raw anger, turns into rioting and looting, and people jump on that bandwagon and you get what they show on TV. But when you have anger and emotion that's driven with education and awareness, it becomes a movement. It becomes a mobilized change. And I just feel like we're in like an enlightening period where there's an uprising, not only in the physical for black people and white people, all black people seeing, even those who chose to keep their head in the sand are seeing it. You cannot not see it. And now white people are seeing it. You can't not see it now. And I feel like there's a war going on that we all have to fight. There's like Brother Jay said, there's praying that has to be done, but there's also some action that needs to be put behind it. There needs to be some clear plans and some stepping up from us to lead the youth into what this is supposed to look like if there's going to be some real change that comes behind this. And there's a war, right now in the physical, but there's also a war in the spiritual right now. It's not by coincidence that on May 31st this happened. And then this is the same, however many years ago, Black Wall Street burned on the same day, May 31st. History will repeat itself if we're not educated and aware of what's going on. It's not by coincidence that the cities burned the day before Pentecost. That when the Holy Spirit was poured out the fire upon God's people, there's another type of war that's going on. And when we're educated in both the physical and the spiritual realm, we can kind of step up, become way more aware of what's going on, and in ourselves can become leaders, not only in our households, but in our communities and in our churches. And I feel like it's not enough for us to just sit by, especially as black men, and watch what's going on. Like, the entrepreneurship businesses that you guys got, those, even though business may not be coming in the way that, you wanted to, but it's still business. And that's that's power. That's, that's a chess move if moved the right way. So, it's a calling. We all are called right now to do something about it. And the question is, what are we going to do?
Yeah. For me, I have been a mixture of emotions. I've never been afraid, though.
Right.
Never been afraid. Even without the looting and the rioting and before George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, this pandemic thing was on the rise, and I wasn't afraid. Like, I'm like, what do I have to be afraid of? I know a God, right? And I'm also wise, and I use the wisdom that he gives me. However, I've been angry. I've been angry enough to sit behind my computer and create action plans, but I've also been angry enough to read a few people, too. I had time yesterday, and I did that. I love no more silence. I'm tired of making y'all comfortable. No. In schools, outside of schools, wherever. I've also been angry enough to be proactive, to send emails to my principal friends and say, hey, you guys are leaders in schools that are filled with black and brown children. I train teachers on how to effectively teach black and brown children. This is my price. I expect to hear from you soon. Right? Because it's not happening.
It's not.
Yeah.
Now we don't have any excuses, right? And as far as, I don't know if I've been taking care of myself in a way that's conducive to being like holistically well, but I have also been channeling God a lot. In my workouts, I've created a space where when I'm running, I'm talking to God. And when I finish this run, and before I go into the next set of workouts, I'm talking to God. And then after I finish that workout, I'm talking to God. But that third time I talk to God, action steps. Let's move. You understand? It gets to the point sometimes I won't log into a Zoom session with a principal or a classmate or a student until I've gotten myself mentally prepared to address a conversation that'll allow me to be my most authentic self in a space. And the worst thing a school can give me is permission to be me, because I'm going to do that and I'm going to do it without apologies, right? Because that's what our kids need. And I'm like, we're in a state of emergency, yes, and I feel like we have the remedy for it.
Yes.
And when I say we, I mean us black men, us black women, black civilization, but more so the brothers and sisters of Christ. We are the remedy for what's going on in our community. I made a statement today, and I had to speak at this youth rally on Hunting Park. And I made a statement today where we are living in a country that was stolen by people who don't look like us. And then the same people who don't look like us took on more than they could handle and then came and got us to build their country. And now they're telling us what we can't do with what we build. Where they do that at? Since when was that okay? Right? So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to ask for anything that I created. No, this is my hood. This is my space. These are my schools. And I'm going to implement whatever I feel is more effective for these black and brown babies because I know the way. Right? Not saying you don't, but I'm not asking you for permission for anything. My ancestors, in my bloodline, I was given permission to do this work. So I don't need your permission. And that's how I feel. That's how I've been doing. I've been cool. I've been angry, but I've been proactive. I got time for it. I got time for it.
I appreciate all your responses, because one thing about mental health is that we don't talk. We don't talk how we feel. And I know for me, what pushed me to do this initiative was that I was realizing that, myself included, was struggling with how to mentally process life. Person that's on the go, as you know, education, you're always on the move, you're always doing something, you're involved, you're connected with people, to now it's shut down and I'm in these four walls. And now I'm processing like this, and like the need to be around my students and my coworkers is like, whoa. So thank you for being honest about how you feel. Thank you for all your responses, because that leads me into my next question. It's a state of emergency, you're right. And Phil and I are not natives of Philadelphia, but we grew up in towns and areas where, powerful people. And, I'm happy to be from Washington, D.C. But let me tell you something. People in D.C. are not happy either. Very upset, very furious. I'm talking to my friends and, social media posts and all of that. But this leads into the next question. The call for leadership, change, action has been, everybody's like, where's the help? What are we going to do? Da, 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 da. But I need to know from you all, why do people feel that they want the choice, not the consistency of change? Why do they want the choice? Like, okay, well, I'll go to Kevin's program today, and then maybe I'll go to Devon's program, and I'll touch Phil's, and then maybe I'll see what. So they don't want to be consistent with the change that they want. Why is it that as a people, we're hooping and hollering, shouting from the treetops, like, yeah, I want change, But then when it comes time, like Jay said, what's going to happen in December? Are you still going to be consistent with the change? Are you still going to have your son involved? So Kevin, why is that? Because right now the adrenaline is high. Everybody,
because that's what it is. That's what it is. A lot of people want to move because it's hot to move, right? But as soon as they can put on a jacket and they comfortable, there goes that support, right? You feel what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people want it because it's hot right now, right?
Yeah. So my thing is, they need to channel that same energy.
Yes.
The same energy that you was like, turn it up with. Take that same energy and vote. And that's what some of us don't like to vote. We think that, it doesn't really matter. Voting is the same type. It's like, better of
bandwagoners.
But we have to get involved. And this is so key. I think that we have to get involved in the whole political process, I would say. Yes. Trump is not going to save us. No. DC is not going to save us. 25 is not going to save you. Trump don't care. Okay.
Never did.
But now we have to be the change that we were waiting for, right? We have to be that change. Trump is going to be in D.C. tweeting and twittering some nonsense. We can't focus on that now. You know what I mean? Now, it's up to you, Devon, and you, Kevin, and you, Phil, and you, Aaron, to say, hey, what can I do locally You know what I'm saying? Because it's not going to, come from the top down no more.
And we got to get out of the business. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off. No, we got to get out of the business of asking people to contribute and tell them that this is what's necessary. Like when a kid wants something from you and they're consistently needing that thing, they go from asking for it to telling you this is what I need, right? Like my daughter, she'll say once or twice, and I know what she's pointing to, that's what she wants. But eventually when I don't move, now she pulling daddy's finger and say, okay, now let me take you to what it is that I need. That's the mentality we need to have as a Black community. Stop asking for people to come in and create, this is what we need, and this is what we must have, and this is what we have to offer. You understand what I'm saying? So when we make known what it is that we already have, what it is that we need, and make known and make it very clear that we're not asking you for permission or asking you to be a part of. We're telling you this is what your what your funding needs to go to. These urban schools. Because it makes no sense that my school is literally walking distance from Girls High and Central. And you can tell the difference from the outside of the school, the type of funding that the schools get. You understand what I'm saying? These kids live in the same hood, same neighborhoods, and you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear this. Well, what are you guys bringing to the? No. This is my table. How about you come sit with me, bruh? Come sit with me, sis. Let's have a conversation.
This is Kevin Gold.
I'm eating off your plate for a long time.
On the front line. Yeah.
Come to the cookout real quick.
All right. To go to your question, I think the concept of change is popular. I think just to talk about change is super popular, but to actually be consistent in change is almost like habit forming. And when you form habits, either you're forming habits or you're breaking habits, it requires almost a reinvention of how you see yourself. How many times have we say, you know what, it's the New Year's Eve, my New Year's resolution, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to work out now. It's easy to say it. It's easy to write it down and plan. Right. But what really shows what you're about is if you follow through. That's the hard part. That's the part where I think we, as leaders and as Black people in the community, that's where we're at with it. We're faced right now with the position of, are you going to make that change of reinventing of how you see yourself? And if you are, these are the steps that you need to take. Obviously, my man Kevin right here has already taken them steps, and you can tell by the passion in his voice that he's empowering other people to move like him. Not everybody has that same passion. Some people are cool with just seeing what's going on and riding the wave. It's going to take a real these hard, courageous conversations that we're having right now to say the things that need to be said, to hear the things that need to be heard, our triumphs and our falls, to see where we went wrong, as a people, as we assimilated in a country that never was for us in the first place. Mm-hmm. So why did it take all of these killings for us to finally get this emotion and this push, to change America? This has been going on for a long time. Right. George, like my man said, George Floyd was just a tipping point. And I think that coupled with being in the crib for 2 months by yourself, some people are alone talking to themselves. Yeah. Have wise counsel. They're over there talking to themselves, getting counseled by themselves, And then for brothers and sisters of Christ, we're like I said before, in an enlightening period where, we're talking to God more. And the more that we talk to God, the more we start to figure out who we are, the more courage and the more built up we become, because you're like, yo, this is, like my man said, he realized this is our country. This is our God. We've been empowered to do this from the beginning. Why are we just seeing it now? So I think all of this goes back to, the reinvention of how we are seeing ourselves. And that's the hard part. And not everybody, and I include my Black brothers and sisters, not everybody is down to take everybody's down to talk about it, but not everybody's down to walk it out. That's the real part right there. That's the hard part. And that's why change is not consistent. Because we talk about real change, you're talking about putting in the hard work, the hours, the blood, the sweat, and the tears. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is willing to do that.
Very true.
So I've been, this situation is revealing who people are. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I've been like, if I'm on social media, I watch people's comments sometimes, and it, meaning like white folks and people who don't look like us. And I think they reveal their heart a lot. Now, it doesn't mean they're bad people. Some of them just genuinely just don't know what they don't know, and I know some of them feel like it's overkill, where people are constantly posting stuff about, just different examples of injustice. And I feel like it does take that. We have to keep it in their face so they understand, this is real. This goes on. This is our life, And I think, Devon, you were saying how it's not our responsibility. I think it was you, Devon, that said it's not our responsibility to educate them, which I 100% agree with that. But like, I feel like we kind of have to nudge them a little bit. So, for example, I just did a video today that I'll post at some point this week where I talked about education. And I basically was saying, listen, if you are really serious about this change and it's really affecting you, so many people, past and present, white friends, have inboxed me, text message, they've apologized, they can't believe what they saw, they're so sorry. And many of them, I do feel they're completely genuine, okay?
Right.
But how bad does it hurt you enough to where you're going to do the work to educate yourself, okay? And a lot of times I feel like, I know, Kev, you're an educator. I know some of us are educators on here, and unfortunately, it takes a black person for to teach like another black child. So what I did was, okay, white people, if you don't want to hear it from a black person, all right, well, do some research on Tim Wise. Do some research on Jane Elliott. Look at people who look like you. Listen to them. Don't listen to
Peggy McIntosh.
Right.
The list goes on. You know what I'm saying? So keep going. You do your education. If you're serious, do your education, gain the knowledge you need to gain the education you need to gain in order for us to start the process of really changing. Again, if you really sincerely are affected by what you saw with your own eyes. We've been saying it for years, but now you're seeing it on TV.
It's different.
It's absolutely different. Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, exactly. And on top of that, I think that we have to know, like, what type of change do we want? I mean, I know we want change, but can we actually say, this is what I want? Can we say, okay, now we need to change what the police do, change the way that they, a chokehold, or change that, grip when he bought the guy, what does that look like? So I think that once we get there, then we can then move on to say, okay, this is what we can do, step A, B, C, D. So now, what does that change look like? Does it start with us? Does it start with the police? Does it start I think that's also a problem as well. Because is it jobs? Is it the police? Is it black on black crime? Because that's a problem too. That ain't going nowhere either. So now, is that a part of the change as well? So I mean, it's so many different dynamics, and I don't know, Kendria, fellas, like, what is that change that we want?
I think
what is it?
I think it starts with a change of mentality. And we're talking about a mentality that's been developed from systematic racism. We're talking about systems that have been in place in America to make, to kind of usher in the fact, or usher in the thought of blacks hating other blacks, moving the black man out of the family, pushing the black woman into the position that the black man is supposed to be in. All of these things, like separating the family unit, the conspiracy to destroy little black boys, the rise in special education in our education schools where everybody's got an IEP. Kids are being drugged up left and right. All these things are systematically put in place. And I think where we're at is that all these things need to be torn down and we need to rebuild. And we've already shown that we can tear down. Like, we've shown that. That's why I said I applaud the young people for taking that step. Burn it, burn things down, take it down. I don't condone burning down your own community. I think that's where raw emotion comes in without leadership. You know what I'm saying? But I do understand where it comes from. And I think that it's going to take more than just, a walk down the block together, a protest, a rally, a march. Those are the things to get attention. And like my man Jay said, what's the clear plan from this point on? And I think it starts with taking a hard look at the systems that are in America. I've been in education for a long time, man. You know that they build prison systems off of kids' third grade scores.
Prison pipeline.
The prison pipeline is real. That's real. And that's been in place for I don't know how long. Red line neighborhoods have been in place for I don't know how long. It's not by coincidence that you go out to the county and you see fresh grocer, Trader Joe's, produce market. You go in the hood, you see hair store, liquor store, barbershop, church. Repeat. These things are put in place for a reason. And you wonder why, you know, with the communities, the way that they're built, putting on top of each other. And now the black man or the black people are in a place where on one side, we can't get protection from the cops because they hate us, and we can't get protection from the white cops because they hate us. So you got a gun on one side from them, but then you got a gun on the other side from our brothers who are in the struggle with us with misplaced anger. So we're like hated on all sides. You know what I mean? So in order to re-educate us of how we look at us, that's why I said this is like an uprising for all of America. It's a human being issue too. It goes deeper than just black and brown. Yes, we have been afflicted and we have been oppressed, but how long have we been oppressing ourselves? We've been killing each other for years without a thought. You know what I'm saying? The hood is still the hood. Still just as nervous as I might get from getting pulled over. It's the same nervousness I might feel from walking in through the projects from somebody in a project area that I don't know. I might get robbed and shot there too. And why does that exist?
Bro, I'm so happy you said that, by the way, because we don't look in the mirror too, though. And
that's where it is. That's that hard look, that crucial conversation, and that reinvention of how we see ourselves.
Yeah.
Because
can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The saying change is inevitable, but growth is optional, right? I think when it comes to this mental health piece, I think emotional intelligence is a real thing, right? And I think people aren't set in what they need, so they are not consistent with the change. You know, I forget which brother talked about habits, right? I think the best way to break an old habit is to start a new one, right? And so, but the consistency of keeping that new one is what we're asking. And I think mentally, we're not ready to do that because we don't know what we want. There's no foundation, right? And people aren't ready. They're not ready. They're not uncomfortable with discomfort. They're not comfortable with the hard things that we need to do. It takes too much work to do this, that, and the third. I can tell you right now, and this is simple. You know, I wasn't one that voted. I paid attention to the primary, the presidential. I didn't pay much attention to to the senators and representatives and the county. I didn't pay much attention to that because I figured like whatever until I realized that President Obama needed help, right? And so I said, you know what? Let me start paying attention to the people that we put in office to support or work against him. And so I had to do some learning. I had to do some education around that. That was uncomfortable. I mean, it was something that I'm not stepping out of your comfort zone. There's your comfort zone, there's your learning edge, and there's your danger zone, right? The learning edge is the edge to where if you're at your comfort zone and you can choose to step out and learn something new and expand your mind, or you can step too far into the danger zone where you shut down, right? And so I think too many people are afraid of stepping to that danger zone where they're not comfortable, they don't know how to act, and so they just stay where they are and they get comfortable. No. When you're in a bed sleeping, I say this all the time, and you're uncomfortable, what do? You change positions. And so I think for us getting ready for a change and being consistent, that we need to be ready for that discomfort. We need to understand that it's coming, and we need to be ready for it. That means we need to know who we are, and I think that's where the mental piece comes in. You got to know who you are. So if you're playing around with other things and other people, or trying to impress, one of the brothers said, I think Kevin said, unapologetically or an authentic him. I'm unapologetically me.
Yes,
no doubt. I have cartoons right now playing on my screen. I got comic books right here to my right. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's who I am. Right. You know what I mean? I'm not going to change for anybody. I'm so knowing who you are and being comfortable with discomfort is something that needs to happen, so that change, so that you are consistent with whatever change comes.
Love it.
Real good points, man.
Thank you.
Real good
Thank
point.
you. So in the lines of mental health, and so as I said before, my father was raised in South Carolina, and so he moved to DC, him and my mom. And he saw, and I shared this on another episode where, he experienced racism, like hardcore nigga, get in the ditch, KKK, all of that.
Wow.
So, he experienced it when he moved to DC as well. So, our father has seen a lot in 70-something years. I've seen a little bit too. But I have another question I'm going to ask more towards the end. But how do you, as men, how do you feel that this is a difficult topic to talk about? Yeah, we talked about change and movement and all that. But if you're going to make a change and you're going to move somewhere, it starts in your mind. So how is it that you all, if a brother doesn't want to talk about his mental health status, because a lot of times they don't, how can you all make that change first? How can we make that change with?
I remember I was given a task that I asked for permission to do a male empowerment group at my school, and it was a group of. It started with 4 boys, and the next day it was 35 guys. And I walked in the room and I set some precedents, and I was like, all black and brown boys. And I was like, listen, I need y'all to just be willing to unpack and try to explain to them what that meant and stuff, right? And for about 2 weeks, I would go in and it'd be dead space. Nobody want to talk about it. I come up with this well thought out lesson, talks and all that, and nobody wants to talk. And then I went home and I said, God, what do I do? Like, I feel like this space is unique. What am I supposed to do? Clear as day. He said, tell it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in the next day and I sat down and I moved all of the tables out of the room and only had chairs. And I sat down in front of them, and that was unusual to them because I don't ever sit down. So they saw me sitting, so they thought it was serious, right? And I go in and I was like, I was expecting you guys to trust me enough to share all of your life experiences with me, and I wasn't giving you anything. And I sat in that room for 2 hours and I just poured and told my entire life story.
Wow.
And from that moment forward, there was a different level of trust, a different level of commitment. And I no longer had to ask. These guys would call all times of the day just to express themselves and felt like they were comfortable enough to be themselves. And I couldn't leave the room. For one, I got emotional. And they not used to seeing black men cry, right? Not from the hood. But I was like, listen, I had to do this in order to get you guys to understand that there's parts of you that you need to unravel and you need to let go of it. You need to allow people to enter into them spaces. So like, that's what I've been known to do. And I've enjoyed that experience so much that I felt like I needed to teach people how to let that be a norm for them too. So I became a life coach, so I could do those things for other people. And I think it just takes you being willing to bear all of you in order to get people to understand how beautiful it looks and feels to do the same for themselves.
I'm shaking my head in agreement, because vulnerability is something that it helps me in my line of work. When I'm doing workshops and I'm talking about race, it goes back to it goes back to mental health, because I release. My mental health is good, whatever it is, because I know how to release and I don't hold it in, right? So when I'm talking about race, I'm usually the black person where the audience is predominantly white, and I say to people, do you realize? I ask people, like, do you think I'm a good person? Some people know me in the room. They're like, yeah, I think you're great. If they don't, I'm like, well, you're good so far. But I'm like, cool. And then I say, do you know I'm incredibly sexist? And they all look at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, there's certain things I'm wired to do because I grew up in a sexist society. So most times I need to unplug my hard drive and plug in my external hard drive, because my hard drive is wired to be sexist, right? And I tell them that because I want them to see that it's easy, but I want them to see me being vulnerable, because I'm going to ask them to do the same thing. Again, going back to this discomfort piece. Like, I can't ask you to be uncomfortable, and I'm sitting up here, the expert in diversity and inclusion. No. I need to let you know that I'm still learning. and I'm still in positions that where there's areas that I still need to understand how to do things. Right? When I'm driving down the street, now I don't do this often, but again, hard drive. When I'm driving down the street and I see somebody do something really stupid, I'm like, and I pull up and it's a person that looks like they're not from the country, or it's a woman. I'm like, right? That's sexist, right? And that's sexist. I shouldn't be doing that. Like that. So I gotta smack myself in the head. Like, oh no, you can't. Or when we say things like, when we say like, she can't do this, or she, whatever it may be. Like I have vulnerability is important to teaching other people things. I think because just like Kevin said, right? He opened up and boom. So I'm nodding my head like, yep, because I think being vulnerable is what is needed. I think you can change you. It's really hard to change minds through statistics and facts. You can change hearts through experiences and perspectives. I think that you want to change a person's heart. Here is hard. But you change their heart, and you can reach that through vulnerability. In my experiences, vulnerability is something that when it comes to the gospel, you got to be, you got to preach the gospel and sometimes use your words.
Right, exactly.
Right?
So vulnerability is definitely key. And pretty much that's why that we actually accepted Jesus Christ. I mean, Jesus Christ, then we showed you, wrist and touch me on the side. I still got the same wounds, just show you that I'm real. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we can see, okay, well, Jesus Christ was vulnerable, very much so. And then on top of that, dealing with like young black men, these guys to me carry a lot nowadays. Daddy's not there, mom on drugs, your cousin got shot. There's a lot of things going on here. So now like right away, they're not going to be like, okay, well, let me, vibe with Devon and Jimmy and see what they got to say. Nah, it's going to take time. Mm-hmm. Certain things that they're going to have to, tear down mentally. There's so much walls up there because a lot of the, guys in their lives are now gone. The day that you came in and left, there's so many wounds and scars there. Guys in my church, same way, just numb to the word of God, numb to the lessons. But then in time is when they finally chilled out. They say, okay, well, Jay is cool. I trust them. Then they open up. It took time and days and weeks and months.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like looking at me like I ain't saying nothing to you. If some of them will look at you not saying nothing, I'm like, what? I'm talking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I still have to, love on these guys and say, you know what? I still love you, man. I'll grip them up and let them go there. Whatever. Now it's all good. It took time, though. It takes time. Females are wired a little bit differently. They'll all, congregate and go to the bathroom together. Boys are different, though. We might have to go out to the basketball game and shoot some hoop. Then I could talk to you. Girls like, girl, let's walk to the bathroom. Then it's all good, right? Boys is different, though. We got to go to that ball game. We got to maybe talk about the latest, whatever, the Jordans or Meek Mill new songs. Like, you have to really talk to them like that. Then after a while, we could show them, okay, now let's really talk. What's going on?
Yeah.
What do you think about, brutality in this? So we have to, just really, take our time, invest in them, and just be patient, and they will come around eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think both of y'all, both Devin and Jay, I think both of y'all hit on the two main things, which is vulnerability and in relationships. And those are the two things that God requires from us in order to meet him at the next level. You can't go to God and hit the altar, hating your heart, and you hiding things that you holding on to. You have to go there, and when you meet up with God and you're in your prayer time, you got to give it all to him. If you want what he got for you, you can't go there with closed fists holding on to your old stuff and expect to receive new blessings. You got to let go of it. So it involves sort of like a purge, so to speak. So we go to God and we become super vulnerable. And then from that point, God's like, okay, now you're being real with me. Now here's what I need you to do. I need to talk to you this many times. I need you to read my word. I need you to build that relationship. So when we get out of this mindset of religion and we get into spirituality, where it becomes a way of life, you know what I'm saying? So, and we have to take that same approach to reach all of people because we're all designed from the same God and we're all, wired to work that way through vulnerability and relationships, especially with Black people. You got to have relationships. We all about talking and communicating. That's how we operate. You know what I'm saying? So, it does. And that's why I said, the vulnerability that Devin hit, and then you hit the relational thing, Jay. I think those are the two main things that we need to get, hit the hearts of the youth,
Right.
Every time I speak to kids, of course, when whoever the teachers, counselors, whoever it is, when they introduce me, they tell them all my accomplishments, all the great things I've done, and I always start out and say, all that sounds great, but I can sit here and try to impress you with everything I've done, or I can impact your life by showing you my scars, letting you know all my mistakes, and here's all the flaws I've dealt with. Because a lot of times these kids, part of the mental health piece is they're dealing with all these insecurities and these challenges from being impoverished, or maybe they're in broken homes, or maybe whatever it is that is harnessed in their mind. They feel like they're alone, and so here I am. They're already impressed just because I'm someone that owns his own company and I'm just an adult, a Black man that's there. They're impressed with just that. And I let them know, listen, I'm just like you. This is what I dealt with, just so I can make myself vulnerable so they understand that I'm no different than you are. It's so ironic. So I always try to share on social media. I'm a reader. So I always try to share on social media different books I'm reading. And this month, my book is it's a book called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. And it's about vulnerability and how to love better, live better, lead better, parent better, and it's you can't sit here and try to impress these kids. You have to let them know, this is what I dealt with, this is what I deal with, so it can help their mental psyche, so they don't feel like they're in this jail within their mind and they're the only ones that are dealing with it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that is perfect, because what I had to do? I had to be vulnerable in order to come to this moment, because people see me all the time. Oh my goodness, you're so da-da-da. And I'm like, if y'all only knew what I did and how I had to honestly, like, how people say, you talk to yourself, like the things that I have to go through mentally just to get up in the morning. Like if people only knew that side of me and what it takes for me to go to bed at night and the things that I have to do and all of that, like that's a lot. And I realized that from this shutdown until now, I've been more vulnerable and I've been more open. And also, too, I haven't been ashamed of my struggles either. I've been ashamed of things that I grew up with, the things that I go through now as a 36-year-old Black woman. Like, I realized that, it's okay. And then, I realized, too, being an educator, it's sometimes those kids who don't speak at all who really need you. I'm realizing that more and more. And I realize those are the kids that flock to me. The kids who are not, the kids who want to teach, who got the attention-seeking behaviors and all that, but it's the kids who aren't saying nothing. Then I'm like, nope, hook up with Miss Fleming, and I'm like, what? And then I realize we're quite alike. We got a lot in common. You know that, right? And I'm like, what? But as I start to share with them their story and share little things, even if it's just my favorite color, it's like, oh, da 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 da. One of my school kids, she texts me every day. Like, she missed me like crazy, and I miss her too. And every day is something. I never forget one night she called me at 11:30, and I said, you never call me this late. Are you okay? And she was like, no. I said, so what's up? And she's like, nothing. I said, what's up? And she shared with me what was going on. But like I said, that takes vulnerability in relationship. And because I experienced what she was dealing with at that moment, I was able to walk her through it. So thank you all so much for sharing it. So before we close out, I have two more questions. But my one question is, are you willing to sacrifice yourself for justice?
Say it again.
What do you mean sacrifice ourselves?
Are you willing to sacrifice your life, yourself, for the justice of brown and Black people? Like, think of Malcolm X, think of Martin Luther King, think of the Huey Newtons, think of all those people.
I think I have sacrificed myself for justice. I do it every day when I walk into schools that aren't built to teach and effectively educate our children. I think I do it every day when I walk these hoods and these communities that aren't sufficiently affording our Black boys the opportunity to see themselves successful. I put myself in a line of fire just so that they don't have to suffer. I'll take the brunt of it, and you take whatever comes behind me, right? Because if I'm in the way of it, you don't get too much, right? So I have been, and I'll always be willing to do what I have to do to make sure that our kids could have the best of what they need to be successful out here. And like, even in my young self being, 33, there's so much life that I have to live for the young people. Like I've seen a lot, but my experiences aren't just for me, but to share with the world and just to share with the people that are under my influence. I have fought. I'll continue to fight unapologetically for justice. And justice is not necessarily the protest all the time. They aren't the riots and the lootings all the time. It's the seat at the tables. Yes. It's the conversations that we aren't always invited to, that we force ourselves into, and we sometimes take over. That's justice. Telling a white school leader, absolutely not, and then doing what you have to do for the betterment of your black and brown children, that's a fight for justice. Yes. And then not standing down until what needs to happen happens, that's a fight for justice. So to answer your question, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. As long as I can come home and see my daughter at the end of it.
Based on this right here, it looks like we're all going to, sacrifice for justice.
Right.
Seem like we all have that passion. We all have that calling. It might be packaged a little bit differently. It might be mixed in with these businesses that we do. But looking at us all, whether it be Phil or Kevin, Aaron, and Devon, we all have that inside of us. I can see it, and that's why we're here. So I think that we all would, sacrifice in different ways. It might be, in college campuses. It might be in neighborhoods. It might be through a rap song. It might be through a DJ set. It might be through, life coaching outside. It might be a Zoom call like this. A book, a podcast. So I think that we all have that calling. I do believe that we all would sacrifice for justice. We are doing that.
Doing it. We're
right now, even I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm joking. We all would sacrifice.
Will one of you be willing to be the next MLK? Like,
here, can I? I'm thinking about this question. Like, I'm thinking about it, and it's hit me because I'm thinking like, so, MLK, I told my mom when I was a kid that I wanted to be MLK when I grew up. Okay. And it was funny because, that's too much context. You know what? Am I going to sacrifice myself for justice? I'm gonna be real right now, like I always am. You know what? Yes, in some of the ways what Jay was saying, but I don't see it as sacrificing justice. I don't know if I have that calling to die for. Martin Luther King didn't know that. Okay, let's be real. In the beginning, he did not know that. Martin Luther King was just doing what God was telling him to do.
Right.
He was following he was following what he needed to until he realized that if there was the mountaintop speech. Right. He realized, look, I've seen the mountaintop. So if I gotta go, I understand, God. I understand that. I don't want to go. I got a family to take care of. But if I got to go, I get it. I've seen the mountaintop, so it's really not about me actually doing this, right? Whatever it may be. Martin Luther King didn't wake up like, all right, I'm going to die, because if that was the case, he wouldn't have moved. He wouldn't have moved from where he was. He wouldn't have done some of the things he did. So I don't necessarily, I'm not going to say I would die for injustice, but I will die for God's will. And I don't know if that's deep for the listeners and the people who are watching. I'm just trying to do what God is calling me to do. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Mark Twain said it best. He said, I love this quote by Mark Twain is probably, it's something I'm living by. There are two important days a person realized. There are two important days to a person. When that person was born and when that person finds out why they were born. Without a shadow of a doubt, I believe I was put on this earth to provide a different or alternative or opposing narrative to whatever the dominant narrative is. So if that dominant narrative is about black men walking around being violent, I'm going to give you another one to think about. If that narrative is about blonde women being stupid, I'm going to give you another narrative to think about. if that narrative is about young boys who have stigmas or who are attached to stupid diagnoses, I'm going to give you another narrative to think about it. Right. That is what I'm going to die for, right? Because that's what I believe I'm called to do. My ministry gift is a teacher. That's just what I'm always in the mode of teaching, whether it's a sermon, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's talking about something and teaching about what allyship is, whatever it is. So yes, injustice in a way like Jay was saying, but I'm not. I don't think MLK. We call it injustice. MLK will call it God's will. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say I will die for God's will because I know that I'm protected. And the last point I'll make on this is I told my son, who's 11 years old now, asked me about, what he does when he encounters the cops. Uh-oh. Ding, ding, ding. Here it comes. What do I do now? So I said to him, son, I can't guarantee you the behaviors of the cops. What I can guarantee you is God's protection. You know what I mean? I can guarantee you that God will be looking out for you because you are a believer. We pray for that. I can guarantee you God is sovereign in the moment. And that's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about God's protection. Obviously don't put yourself in a precarious position like that to encounter the cops and all the good stuff, but I can guarantee you God's will. So I don't know if that made sense to everybody, but I'm not dying for injustice. I'm dying for God's will. If injustice is His will, then sure, let's call it that way. You know what I mean? So I don't know. So that was the first time I was asked that, and I'm like, what is my real answer to that? So
I think you hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, Divine, you've always been one who's kept it real. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. So you segued into something that I really wanted to ask, and for those who are listening, what do you say? So growing up, my mom has a college degree. My dad only graduated from high school, and so my mom went to Fayetteville State, migrated to DC, met my dad. The rest is history, right? So my dad was military. All the things. He worked for the subway system in DC Metro. My mom worked, for a government organization. And I remember when I was born, in all my childhood, my mom always said to me, you always have strikes against you. You're Black and you're a female. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. And my mom ingrained in me, like, reading. Make sure you read everything. Read. Mm-hmm. That's why this place is flooded with books. And she pushed that into me, right? And so while I love to read and while I love all things literacy related, a person seeing me just sees the color of my skin. And the same goes for someone like your 11-year-old son or like Aaron's son, Nasir, and, and your daughters and your nieces and nephews and all that. So what do you say to a child who, like your 11-year-old son, like, what do you say to them when they are, like, asking questions and when they are like, well, what should I do? Growing up, we had Officer Friendly, right? Officer Friendly would come to your school, call 911 if it's an emergency. Like, we grew up on that era. But now, should I call 911 if it's an emergency? So what do you say? What have you been saying to your children and to other children you encounter about what's going on? Because honestly, it's the color of their skin or just the appearance of wrong, right? The appearance of, like, okay, I don't know.
Have to be educated on that. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's our Black boys need to know. They need to know what's waiting for them on the other side. They just need to know. I can't sugarcoat it any other way. Like, I don't want to act like this world is just going to, offer them everything and it's going to be this free ride. I let my third graders and my fourth graders know. I let my third graders know that you sitting in this chair and you choosing not to do this work or choosing not to take your education seriously is a path that leads to this. And when you get out there, they don't care about your daddy left and your mom's on drugs. Yeah, that stuff happened too. And I always ask them, I say, everybody in here, if your dad's not around, raise your hand. Half the class, if not 99% of the classroom, raise their hand, including myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's a sad commonality, but it's reality. You know what I'm saying? So this world is not looking for the excuses. Your setbacks and your insecurities are not what make you weaker. It's actually what makes you stronger. You know what I'm saying? Like those things that you deal with on a daily basis would kill another person. They would break them down, but you choose to still get up, put your uniform on, get on the bus and get on and come to school. That's a choice that you're making every single day. That's how strong you are. I think I let them know that who I am in front of them is showing you that you can do it too. I'm here to reshape and show you who you are, so that way you can have the choices that you're supposed to have. I mean, you can be educated about the choices that you need to make. Like it's important that we show them, like, this who we are didn't happen overnight. We had to go through X, Y, and Z. I don't care what cushy upbringing you came from, or if you lived in the diehard projects. A black man is still a black man out in the street.
Right.
It just is what it is. And we have to be honest with ourselves and honest with our little black boys and our young kings and queens, and let them know that they come from royalty, but that's not what this world says. You are not who they portray you to be on TV. You know what I'm saying? You are more than that. And we have to pour it in. And I think that's what Kevin was playing on as far as, dying for that. Like, we represent that every single day. Every day he chooses to go in that classroom and be that positive self and, be that positive role model for them. If he's the only one in their life, then so be it. I will be the one that you think about and say, you know what? Well, that's, Kev wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's super important. And I think it's part of our responsibility to show them that. Like, like Devin said, show them that you don't have to act like that. You don't have to do it that way. One of the reasons why I came to Christ was because I saw a pastor that preached in a white t-shirt and jeans and Tim. It blew my mind. I said, whoa, you can't do that. You're supposed to have a Bible in your hand and a suit, brother. What you doing? And he looked at me and said, well, what does a man of God look like? I couldn't answer the question. I said, you know what? So my tattoos don't disqualify me. Now they actually qualify you to bring in people that look just like you.
Right.
You are tailor-made for the people that are assigned to you. Kevin is tailor-made for all those boys because they need to hear it the way that he says it. The way that Devin does things is going to usher in a wave of people that are just like him, that are lost because they don't know that it's okay to be that way. I think we all have that ingrained in us, and it's all our responsibility to be who we are in front of them so that they can.
Absolutely.
That's it. Right there.
Definitely.
Yes.
One thing I do as well, being a parent, also, raising like a young black lady, a young black woman, is that I really invest in her. I build up self-esteem. I call her beautiful. I call her pretty. I call her intelligent. I pump up her head. I gas her head up. So now I'm kind of like, I do.
I can tell.
That way, I'm raising the bar. So now what your daddy is telling you, this is your standard.
Yes.
So no, you're not the baddest beat. No, this is your standard.
Yes.
You don't got to be like this one on TV, twerking on the gram. No, this is your standard. I call you beautiful. I call you blessed. I call you intelligent. You are going to meet, a good guy, a right guy at the right time. So we as fathers and parents, it's our duty to really, counteract the things that they see on television. Right. Counteract the videos, counteract the news that say, black women is the baby mama, black men are criminal. Counteract that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It starts at home, right? Because like a lot of things aren't right now. To me, there's like a generation of parents that are not there. Kids out here robbing, looting, and stealing. Where the parents
Where the parents
you
at?
As the parents, go and get your child.
They're with them.
A lot of times they're either with them or behavior is learned. You know what I'm saying? You don't wake up and become something. You learn it from something. So a lot of times those behaviors that they see, they've already learned it because their parents didn't know what real love was.
Damn.
So they're just recycling the same thing that they saw. So like you do, Jay, with your daughter, and you set the bar high and you say, no, if this young man's going to date you, he's supposed to come by here, talk to me, hold the door open. You know what I'm saying? And you set that bar that way. I try to tell black women all the time, you know, and no offense.
Good.
I try to tell them like, yo, y'all don't know how much power y'all have. If you knew that we step our game up when you tell us, when not when you tell us, but when y'all make us step our game up. If they can get in your drawers by pulling over the car and saying, yo, and you allow them, then why would they ever change? But if you tell them, no, that's not my name, address me the correct way. I found my wife like that because she was the only one who was like, no. Listen,
that's what's up.
if you're going to talk to me, I need you to do it this way and that way. And it made me stop my track and say, wait a minute. She's challenging me to be better. So as she challenged me to be better, I became better. And if you look at any impoverished neighborhood, when you lessen the women, the conditions get worse. Because as men, we don't buy clothes and drive cars for each other. Mm-hmm. We don't do that for each other. We don't. We do it, but we do it for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So just like, you know, like there's power in both of it. But like Jay said, man, like it's all about setting the standard.
Absolutely.
Women need to do it. Fathers need to do it. Mothers need to do it. And we had that back in the day. The standard was higher. You couldn't.
And the neighbors, they could get you too. So it's your mom, it's your dad, it's Big Mama down the block.
Yeah, Big Mama down the block. You used to get beats from everybody when you got in trouble.
It's Mary.
And that's what's missing.
It's Mary.
That's what's missing.
You said it.
We're the village. There's no village.
You said women challenge you to be better.
Yeah.
In the black community, we can't challenge each other to be better because one, you're a threat. One, you think you're better than me, and two, you know, you're trying to take over, and we have to eradicate that. If I challenge my students, knowing that they can do better and they can give their full potential, of course they're gonna fight me on it. But I know what I see, and I know you can give me more than just this piss poor work. That's why out there they're gonna require a lot more of you. So yes, we can challenge each other. I can challenge my husband and different people, but at the same token, when we challenge each other as a community, we have sessions like this, and when Kevin goes to where he goes and Phil and everybody else, it's always a threat. It's always a threat that you trying to what you trying to do. Who told you you had the power to do that? Well, God gave me the power, so I'm gonna do it, and you're gonna watch me do it. So thank you, very
bold.
Yes, listen.
Bold. I taught in Camden. I taught in Camden, right? And I went from teaching a second grade literacy to a self-contained class with 7 boys. And when my principal at the time was a black man, and he presented the opportunity to me, he straight up said, nobody else wanted to do it. Nobody else would do it, and we don't want to get rid of these boys, and we know that you have what they need. Offered me a pay increase. I took it. But
that's
all that to do this self-contained classroom work, right? And I remember very, very vividly this kid named Alan, hefty, easily 200 solid pound 5th grade boy, right?
Wow.
Alan wanted to play my game. He wanted to play himself, right? Alan thought he was a tough guy. He thought because I was a teacher, I couldn't do much. Nah, bro, that ain't how this way, right? So long story short, Alan comes in with an attitude one day. Alan doesn't want to hear nothing. F you, Mr. Gold. Okay, boom. That's your one time, right? Second time, threw a chair at me. I said, Alan, I'm a man. I just need you to know that chair can only come back this way one more time before you get the repercussions of it, right? Alan throws the chair again, thinking I'm playing a game. Okay, Alan. So boom. Shoosh. There go the chair. Alan then comes up to me. Alan, I'm a man, bro. I'm only giving you one more strike, bro. Right? I don't tussle with him, but he thought he can grip me. I don't play about my clothes. So I put Alan up against the board, one hand. Put me down. You thought I was playing with you, bro, right? You thought this was a game.
Right.
You thought it was a game. Alan goes home, tells his mom. Mom calls me Mr. Gold. Alan told me you did X, Y, and Z. I said, yes, ma'am, I did. And let me explain to you my method of educating black boys. Your son was on his way out of this school. We tried to hold on to him. I'm the only one in a school of 50-something staff members that was willing to deal with your son. You want to have this conversation with me? He lives in Camden. Had he tried a dude outside, you wouldn't have a son coming home to you today, Mom. I just saved your son's life.
Wow. Wow.
And that's how it has to be sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I deal with a lot of parents, single moms. I have yet to meet a father.
Wow.
And I've taught for 13 years.
Yo,
I have yet to meet a father.
Say it.
Wow.
I mentor over 200 boys in this city by myself. I have yet to sit down and have a conversation with a father.
Wow.
Father gets angry with me and tells the son's mom that he had a problem with what I did to save his son. Where were you, sir?
Exactly.
You want to have this conversation? If you did your job, he wouldn't need an Uncle Kev.
And here's the sad part is that as much as our black mothers are taking on 2 and 3 jobs and raising these boys, the sad reality of it, and I had to tell a parent this. I said, it was a little boy. Dad was locked up. Uncles was locked up. Had no men around. Pretty much grandma, mom, everybody was female. And he was going through some issues. And I pulled mom aside and I said, I got to have an honest conversation with you. I said, I need you to find, other than myself, I need you to find some black men.
Yeah, man.
She said, wow, we do a good job. I said, Mom, I'm not coming at your parent and saying, I applaud you, black women, for everything that you're doing, for stepping up and taking 2 roles. But understand that a woman cannot show a boy how to be a man.
Yes, man.
Same way that I cannot show my little girl how to be a woman. I can raise her with moral standards, but at some point I got to put her around other women so that she learns how to be a woman. You got to get him around a man that looks like him, a positive man, so that little boy can learn how to be a man. And that when these fathers are missing, boys, they take to the streets, they take to their friends, they take to gangs, they take to anything other than, like they hold on to something other than what they're supposed to be holding on to learn how to play this game. And we end up
for that validation. They trying to find validation.
There you go, trying to find that validation. What they find is that you're playing checkers and everybody else is playing chess. You're
wrong moves.
You're not out here in these streets equipped the right way. And when I say these streets, I'm talking about these, the streets and, dealing drugs. I'm talking about in these streets to make it in America.
Yeah.
Losing before you come out the door. You already lost.
Yeah, we gotta stop. We gotta stop thinking about it in a way that, like, I should be able to receive constructive criticism from a black man without being offended.
There we go.
Why can't he have love for me enough to share his honest thoughts about something that I may have done or something that I may have said or a place that I was supposed to show up in and failed without me being offended about the truth about myself?
Why we as black parents can't talk to each other about that? Why is it always you trying to show me how to raise my kids? No, I'm trying to help you on this parenting thing because it starts at home with you. I actually got to reset him every time. I work on him from Monday through Friday. He go home with you over the weekend, and I got to start back over again
on Monday. Yeah.
On Monday.
Man,
I had this one parent one time that I called. I was like, yeah, your daughter, she using foul language. You know what I'm saying? I need you to have a talk with her. Put her on the phone. You know what? Never mind. Give me the phone.
I see where she get it from.
My bad.
Oh my God.
A phone call from me again. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, and it goes back to reinventing that and pouring into each other of how we are supposed to look at each other. How am I supposed to look at Kevin? How am I supposed to look at Jay? How am I supposed to look at Devin? Am I supposed to look at Devin and Kevin and say, oh, these black brothers got businesses. I don't got a business. So, you know what I'm saying? I ain't dealing with them. No, how can I be involved with what they're doing? And how can I bring some expertise to it? Show me. How did y'all do that? Kevin, how are you getting to your boys the way you did? I tried to talk to them and I couldn't get them. Why is it so hard? Like Kevin said, why is it so hard for us to build from one another? The gold is in the ghetto. We got all the gold in the ghetto.
That's another topic right there, man, because we didn't want to get jealous real quick. We get real quick. We could ask Nipsey about that. You could ask a lot of these artists, a lot of these ball players. Jealousy is a real thing, and it's sad because the Jews do it well. They all work together well. One's a lawyer, one's a doctor, one's a plumber, another's a carpenter.
Right.
Let's all work together.
All of the rate. If you look at
one of us to take off and blow up here, jealousy come around, I want to kill that boy. Why do we think like that? You know what I mean?
Mental
we
health.
say that,
Wilderness.
if we say that
Mental
Black
health.
Lives
Exactly
Matter,
what it
though, but
is.
show that it matters.
Mindset. That's
Yeah,
that
we say the
systematic
Black Lives Matter,
mindset.
but show that it matters. Show it. You know what I mean? So it's such a crab in the barrel. It's jealousy. It's like, I don't like Devon because, you know what I mean, Devon graduated from that, university. Not like, why we have to have that mindset?
It's because it's so deep rooted in this, bro. It's so deep. It goes so much further back, man. You remember in slavery, you had the field Negro and the house Negro. You go back to colleges where light-skinned blacks was versus dark-skinned blacks. It's been a divide and conquer mindset that's been instilled in us from the gate, and it's still working to this day. We still haven't, fully, healed from it because we haven't addressed it face on.
Thank
You know what I'm saying? And that's
What
really
it is, man.
Well,
That's what it is.
Y'all have said so much. I'm grateful. So we're going to start to wrap up, but here's what I need you all to do. I need you to give me a 60-second soundbite. Who you are, your business or organization, how people can get in touch with you, how they can reach out to you, how they can support what you're doing. I mean, we do have a hip-hop artist on the line. And then finish the statement by telling us, how are you resetting your mental health? So we'll start with Phil. Tell us what you're doing and then how you're resetting your mental health.
Yeah, so just a reminder. So again, my company is a youth empowerment company. And again, we help young people fulfill their purpose in life by dealing with the things that keep them from moving forward. So I'm active on social media. I like to put a lot of inspiring, educational type information. So you can definitely connect with me on Facebook if you want. It's actually it's Phil, my last name. Phil's with 2 L's. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn if you want. You can connect with me on Instagram at The Fulfill Company. The Fulfill Company spelled, it's the word the. Fulfill is spelled FULPHILL, and the word company. Nice. So again, that's on Instagram and on Facebook as well. So so that's how you can connect with me. To answer Kendria's question, so I'm resetting my mental health by, one, just kind of acknowledging that racism still exists, as much as I don't like to admit it. But there's I'm understanding that there are some people who don't look like us who genuinely want to see change. Last Wednesday, we had a big storm, and I had a tree in my backyard fall down. And I had a friend of a friend, white guy, who came over and wanted to do it for free. It was a big tree. Took us probably about close to 3 hours on Saturday. And he lives in Abington. I live in Drexel Hill. So he drove all the way over here to help me out. So there's, that's kind of resetting my mental health, that just because there was one white man that was acting a fool and, had his knee on a brother's neck, and 3 others who shot it, the list goes on and on. I'm resetting my mental health to say that, I'm optimistic that things can improve. I'm not naive to think that it's going to go away, but I'm resetting my mental health to remind myself that there are good people out here. Mm-hmm. And, we just have work to do. So that's how I'm keeping my sanity. I can't go around thinking that everybody's against me and no one who doesn't look like me is not affected by what's going on. I have to remain optimistic, or else I'll be paranoid. I'll be crazy thinking that, everybody is against me. So that's for my own sanity. I've reset my mental health that way, to just understand there's good people out there. So.
Thank you, Phil. The Fulfill Company, everybody, make sure you check it out. Kevin.
So, again, I'm Uncle Kev. I have 2 nonprofit organizations, All the King's Men and King's University. You can follow me on Instagram I'm at Uncle Kev. At Uncle
right
Kev.
Now.
And then I'm at _, All the King's Men _. So that's my 2 Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Kevin Gold. You can find all of my business endeavors on those platforms.
What was that? What was the second? All the Kings. Say that one again.
_ All the King's Men _.
Mm-hmm.
and then it's Kevin Gold on Facebook. And how I'm resetting my mental health is being honest with myself about the time that I need to spend with me, talking to God frequently, spending time with my baby girl has really rejuvenated me a lot. Yeah. Her personality already is like in full bloom, so she shows me a lot about the attention that I need to give myself just by focusing on the attention that I give to her. So that's the beauty in fatherhood for me. But then also just being completely honest, like I'm taking care of myself by checking in with my boys. I lost one last week, was shot and killed in front of his home. So it's been really tough trying to navigate that in mindset. So every day I have been pulling up to at least 5 or 6 of my boys until I have seen every single one of them. And it mentally puts me in a place of safety and comfort, knowing that they're okay. So,
Thank you. All the Kingsmen and King's University. So.
And King's University, yeah.
Listen, make sure you check them out. Damon Jackson. I call him teacher.
And I appreciate that too. You inspire me and you keep me grounded with that. And I appreciate that. First, thank you for this opportunity. As always, it's nice to connect with people. So my company is Change Consulting. We're just at the email stage. I don't have any. I have social media, but it's not up there. So I'll just give you my email. It's perspective@change180.com. Change. It's spelled CHANJ, not G. CHANJ, because change is it's the phonetic spelling of change. So that's why it's that way. Of course, I had to do it that way. It's weird. So it's change with a J. Perspective@change with a J, 180.com. I'm just me on social media. It's 19 Deuce 0619 DEUCE 06. I am an alpha, proud alpha. Deuce, I'm a 2, so that's what's up. And that's that. I am resetting my mental health by. I don't have an answer. I'm just gonna say me. I do need to pay attention to my mental health because I do a lot of worrying. I do a lot of things where I worry about everyone else. I'm very compassionate, and I'm always thinking about somebody else before myself. I think that's just the shepherd's type of heart I have. So I do. I take breaks. The type of person I am, I take mental breaks. So I guess that is what. That is how I reset my mental health, by taking a mental break. Like I said before, I watch cartoons a lot. I'm always using my mind. I'm always processing. So I need to do things that doesn't take a lot of brain power. So cartoons is kind of my peace. To be honest with you. It seems weird, but that's just who I am. Like I said, I collect 80s cartoons. So for those that understand, Thundercats, He-Man,
classics,
Centurions, Transformers, all those. I have a box full of my old school cartoons that I pull out when I want to just chill and watch like the full seasons of Thundercats, He-Man, and all that good stuff. So G.I. Joe, I got the the limited edition box set. I got the freaking Ninja Turtles DVD in
let's go
in an unopened Turtle Man box. Like it's unopened. So I'm not playing. So that's
I'm
me.
not playing.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all very much. So.
Wow.
I appreciate this opportunity. So that's me. I love y'all.
Thank you, Devon. Jay.
Hey, what's up? So once again, thank you, Kendria, for this moment and for your time and for this, positivity right now. Facebook, Jay Brown on Facebook. If you want to reach out to me, okay. The gram, that is, I am the letter J, the numbers 215 CEO. So that's I am J 215 CEO. If you need to reach out to me, my DJ as well. I'm working on a podcast. I do want to come out with some merchandise as well, but that's coming a little bit later.
Okay.
That is the abbreviated version of that right now. But thank you for this moment, all that good stuff. And as far as what I do is that I turn off the TV because I am a news geek. I'm a news buff. CNN, Fox, Nightline, David Muir, The View, The Real, The This, The Voice, you know what I mean? So I am a news buff. So like a lot of nights, a lot of times I turn it off. When I do get off work, I go out for a jog. I try to, ride my bike. Devon saw me outside riding my bike. You know what I mean? So I'm riding my bike. I try to work out. On Sunday, I went out to the beach, walked the boardwalk a little bit with the family. So, I mean, detoxing is very important because the news will, show you things and the visuals that you're seeing. It's the video, the same video over and over again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes, man, you have to, turn that news off.
That's
Sometimes I'll find like a Netflix movie, Netflix with no chill. I'm just, single man right now. I see what's new on Netflix.
Netflix with no chill.
Keep it real.
Crazy.
Aaron.
Hey, all right. So on Facebook, I'm Aaron Lamb. I also have a fan page on Facebook. It's Charlie K fan page. On Instagram, it is at MC Charlie K. And then I'm old school MC, so it's EMCEE Charlie K. Let me think. Twitter is _ Charlie K _ I just released a single about 2.5 weeks ago called Blessed. Real non-traditional hip hop song. But also I have an album out on iTunes called Light Up the Dark Volume 1. And it is really, really, really heavy in hip hop. If you're a fan of lyrics, you're gonna love it. But at the same time, it's not overly preachy. It's just kind of real to me. If you're following Christ or you thinking about taking that path, it'll definitely nudge you in the direction that you need to be nudged in. Other than that, I forgot what was the question. What am I doing to reset my mental health? I'm resetting my mental health by showing up. And when I say that, I mean, in this season that I'm in, I don't know where God has taken me, so to speak, but He's got me up at like 5:30 in the morning every morning, praying and on Facebook, kind of like doing devotions. I'm on day 9 of the Show Up series, so just getting up in the morning, having that quiet time with Him, and I'm finding out more about myself in this quiet time than I have in a long time. I think this quarantine, I think Devin said it a while ago, this quarantine is doing something for the people of God. It's igniting us. It's God has slowed down the world for a reason, like He's taken away the non-essentials because He is the essential. So I think He's given us time to know Him at a deeper level. So by the time we come out in the world, we're gonna come out hitting the ground running. And I see that in all of y'all brothers, man. Y'all all are super strong, positive brothers, man. And I done followed all of y'all. I done got your websites. I'm be hitting y'all up, man. And I
forgot I had a website.
Yeah, you got a website. We need that too, man. Because more than anything, all of us work with children in some sort of way, man. I need to get some of y'all brothers around the kids, straight up and down, man.
Yeah, that's
so if I could get y'all to come in, talk to these little boys.
For
Devin,
sure.
Kevin, come in, show your school, your company. How can we be a part of the Kings? Devin, come in, present your company. How can I support y'all? Philip, same thing, man. Bring all your accolades. Bring your your self pen. I know you come up with your flaws first, but I need all of that, man. Bring your company in and put it around these black boys. Same thing, Jay. Like you're a deacon, right?
Yeah, a deacon and a DJ as well.
Deacon and a DJ. So listen, man. So we can do on the hip hop side, and I can bring you into the church and come talk to my boys.
Philip is also a deacon, by the way. Philip is also a deacon.
Oh, Philip a deacon too. All right, see, man.
Phil is real humble.
But either way, what I'm saying is we all need to definitely put each other around each other.
Absolutely.
And I definitely need to get, some of the stuff that y'all saying, man. To be honest, man, I haven't heard it from some of my own closest friends, some of the stuff that we talked about tonight, man. So as much as we could build and help each other and support each other, I'm all with it, man.
Thank you all so much. And I'm so
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen.
See what your vulnerability did?
I'm like Divine. Like Divine said, calling me. God is pushing me to use my voice more. So, but that's such a good segue because very soon we're going to have a men's symposium and you'll hear more about it very, very soon. And we're going to do a 3 to the brothers conversation. So we're not done yet. We're still going to keep this train moving because change is what we need. So more about mental health. It impacts our community in so many different ways. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to love on each other. We have to be even more effective. We have to be vulnerable. We have to share our change. I'm grateful for all of these men, Kevin, Jay, Phil, Devon, Aaron, who came tonight and shared their story. But you can share your story too. That's a part of Reset Mental Health Online, is sharing your story, being open, realigning it. It's more than just you sitting on the couch. Sitting on the couch is important. You can go to Therapy for Black Girls. You can go to Black Men Heal, which is a local Philadelphia organization that's offering counseling services for men of color. There's so many different things and so many different resources out there. I don't want you to miss it. There's also Black female therapists. There's also Black mental wellness and Black mental health, which are all on Instagram. Open Path is a nonprofit organization that also provides low-cost therapy for people of color. So things are out there. I just need you all to catch the train and catch the wave. You can catch me on Facebook and Instagram, Reset Your Mental Health Online, YouTube as well. My producer is telling me what to say. All that stuff. Yes, all of that was inspired. I have a producer, y'all. My husband, yes.
Amen.
All of that. But thank
That's
you.
what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes. Yes. So remember to continue this conversation. The nation needs prayer. I know we have a clergy walk that's happening right now in Philadelphia on Broad Street. Power to those people. Continue to cover and lead them. I'm grateful for all you are. I'm grateful for the connection that you all have with each other. Please don't lose that. And as we end out this school year, let our summer be safe for our babies because they've been in the house all for 3 months. So, continue to love on each other. We need it more than ever in this community. We need it more for ourselves. So until next time, be gentle with yourself and others. Never stop believing and be the difference. Right. See you later. Good night, y'all.
Love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all.
Have a good one, man.
Take care.